Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Cool Car Guys. This is Kelvin here, and here I am. I have a friend, interesting friends, who happen to drive a Nissan Navara. Tell us a bit about yourself, Henry.
Alright, so I'm Henry, otherwise known as the Urban Trucker on Instagram and most of the social media platforms now that I am on. What else should I say? I love driving, very keen driver, love to explore the limits of driving as I go along. But I just started that, so yeah, we'll progress more on that as we go along.
Yes. So without further ado, let's jump into his truck and we're gonna drive around.
Come, let's go.
Hey. So Henry, tell us about your truck.
Okay.
Why Nissan Navara out of all other
trucks, right?
All trucks, or maybe I don't know. Do you have any other cars in your mind before you purchase this truck?
Okay, I think I'll take it one step back. I knew I wanted a truck because it's kind of the cheapest thing you can get that comes in this size, right? Because it's tax exempt, or you pay minimal tax for this thing. So I was set on a pickup truck, but again, back to the question, why the Navara? I wanted the Hilux actually because it's a natural choice when you think about something reliable, and when we talk about pickup, everyone talks about the Hilux. But in Malaysia, or I think most places, you know that it's a very hot demand for thieves.
Yes.
Which was a scary concern for my parents. So we are like, no, you're not getting a Hilux, or you're only getting a second-hand one, which I didn't mind. But shopping around, we came across the Ranger, which was the 2.2 back then. That was something I was keen to explore as well. But we just didn't know how well the 2.2 would sort of perform, and how reliable it would be over time. And previous Ford Rangers didn't have very good reputation for reliability, so let's skim through that. So yeah, that was kind of why we skipped over that option and thought about the Navara.
Why choose manual?
Why manual? Okay, I think just now in the intro I did say that I was a keen driver, so I really wanted to have 3 pedals in my car. The leftmost one being the most interesting pedal that I like to play with. So
that's true.
Yeah, since I got my license, I have not actually driven a manual for 5 years until I got the truck. So it was kind of the time where I either learn how to drive a manual now, or I would really like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to drive a manual anymore because I'm afraid of it.
Yes.
So it was that point where I'm like, okay, just get yourself together, reacquaint yourself with the manual skill, and yeah, that's the whole reason why I went for manual. Which was a good decision, I say. At least now I can just jump to any vehicle and drive off.
That's true. But I mean, I think when you try to pick a right truck for yourself, you did test drive a few other models, right?
Yeah, so...
Do you think this manual gearbox works well in this Navara?
Here's the fun part, right? When I test drove, let me think. I test drove the Ranger, I test drove the Hilux. I didn't test drive the Navara back then yet. Both of those didn't have a manual in the showroom.
Right? Yeah, some showroom they don't really.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's not a very favoured option amongst Malaysians anymore, or any car buyer, as a matter of fact. So they don't actually have a test drive unit with a manual transmission. So frankly speaking, I bought the manual sight unseen in a way. I only tested the dimensions of the vehicle just to have a feel of it. But the first time that I actually experienced it was when I picked up this very truck, when I took delivery of it. So it's a bit of a shock because I found out the clutch pedal was like really far away. But the driving position is a bit compromised in a sense, just to cater for the clutch. Yeah. So in a way, now I will insist on test driving the manual before I actually book one, just for that reason, because I didn't expect it to be that much of a hassle now.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate these days, right? A lot of cars actually they try to phase out their manual transmission.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen for trucks because I still think that
It's a
manual,
workhorse.
yes, manual transmission will still be favorable by most people when they want to pick a truck,
Yeah,
pickup
correct.
truck. Other than that, anything that you really like about this car?
I like the fact that it has the most powerful engine, 403 Nm of torque. That's how it got the title Mother Trucker. No, I'm not saying something vulgar. Don't worry about it.
I mean, your social media name is Urban Truckers. What?
Yeah, but when you say Mother Trucker together the wrong way, it sounds like a very vulgar word. So yeah, a lot of people were shocked when I said use that term Mother Trucker, right? They're like, oh wow, since when have we went, you know, so berserk. But yeah, what I like about it, apart from the engine, is how easy you can, you know, how good the visibility is around the
Yes,
vehicle.
it is.
Because it's again a 10-year-old design, so everything is very squarish and boxy, right? So I can see where the two front corners are. I can just look around my shoulder and I can see the two corners of the back. The side is very flat, so the mirrors are perfect. You can just see where the body exactly is, you know, apart from compared to the modern cars where it has that bulgy sort of side, you know, like roughly estimate where's the bottom of the car in relation to the curb. So yeah, these are the things that I really enjoy with this particular truck.
I think back in the days, Nissan design it's somehow very
Ergonomic.
boxy.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the old Nissan X-Trail,
Yes.
that's one of my favorite
Cars.
SUV back in the days. I remember when I watched Survivor on TV, they always advertise Nissan X-Trail. I don't know why. It's just one of my favorite cars back in the days.
Yeah, personally, I like boxy cars as well.
I like boxy cars, so yay. And then like all their interior design, it's somehow similar with what you have right here, the Nissan Navara. It just works.
Yeah,
you know,
where everything is.
Yeah, it's not fancy, but it just works. And I mean, like, you are looking at these days, a lot of cars they replace the aircon buttons with touchscreen.
Yeah.
Even the Honda, they are doing that. Then they realize they kind of fucked up, so they're switching back to dials.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're looking at a truck, you want things to work well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the aircon dials to be, you know, solid dials. So this is a really good car and a very practical car as well.
So
right?
is one thing, and the buttons are big enough that, you know, you can just feel and you know what you're touching. So like this, I know is the fan knob, this is the temperature knob, and the other one is like the mode. So it's something that you don't really need to learn, and it's very easy to just go with the snap of finger, like, yep, I know what's that button.
Yeah. So if let's say I have a friend, actually I really have a friend who she's driving a Proton Saga now, and she's planning to buy a pickup.
Okay.
What would be the advice that you would give to her if she wants to? Because she needs the pickup truck to carry stuff, because she's doing a project right now.
Right.
So what would be the advice you would give to her
Alright,
when
so
she want to buy a truck?
First thing, when you buy a truck, which I totally, like, you know, flunked when I bought the car, was to think about maintenance costs, running costs, right? Just to give it a perspective, one tyre is probably going to be equal to 2 tyres on the car, really. The cost of it, right? And of course, the road tax, compared to a Saga, you probably pay like 5 more years. It's 800 plus for the Navara. Saga is probably like 90 ringgit thereabouts, I think. But yeah, so you add up all these costs and you see if the maths work out for you. But at the end of the day, you're getting a much more capable vehicle than a Proton Saga, of course. So that's the trade-off that she's got to work out, at the very least, financially. Apart from that, of course, this thing is much bigger. So you've got to really get used to the size of this thing when you're trying to maneuver around tight spaces. Yeah, so once you're used to it, all those are not much of a problem anymore, because it's basically like getting used to a new car, right? Once you're used to the size and everything, it's just gonna be second nature to you, really.
One last question.
Yeah.
What's your dream car?
My dream car, that's a very good question.
Well, like, what's that one car that you really want to have?
The
You
one
have that
car,
like bulk of money.
it changes all the time. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give it the top 5 that I have in mind, right? I've always adored the Lexus LS 460L, the older one, with that center furniture in the middle, 4-seater. That's what the one I'll really go for. Then the next one would be the Audi A8 LW12, where Frank Martin drives the Transporter 2 and 3. So those are sedans. Then when it comes to 4x4s, I really like to have a Land Cruiser V8 Toyota. And the other one that I really don't mind having is the Ford Raptor. Whether it's the Ranger or F-150, I'm fine with either of those two. Then here comes the icing or the cherry on the cake, the sports car category. It has to be the Aston Martin DBS 190. So it's the convertible version. So that's the best car that is really on top of the list. But of course, it depends on mood lah. So today might be the Aston, tomorrow might be the Lexus, and then another day I'll tell you the A8W12.
Yeah, speaking about the Transporter, right? I really like the 740.
I do like that as
Li.
well.
Yeah, the long wheelbase one, right?
That's really the most mafia-looking German executive that you can find. It's long and it's very low riding.
I love that car when I watched that show, and I do love I think the Mercedes S-Class that they show.
I love all the big German executive sedans. I think if you notice the trend that I mentioned just now, my dream cars, they are all big and bulky. Except for the Aston. That's like the smallest car of the 5 that I given just now.
Let's hope that one day we'll get some money and really buy us some dream car. Alright, let's conclude our drive around with Henry. I think right now I'm just gonna briefly drive around his truck.
Let's see if Kelvin has the talent to drive a manual again.
I don't think so. We'll see how. Alright, bye.